It's going to be live on location. We are live on location in Florida. And I wanted to start off talking about, I was talking to Josh last night. We were watching UFC. What was it? UFC. I already forgot what it was called. The UFC 297. And we're watching the end of the Raquel Pennington versus the Mayra Bueno Silva. And Bueno Silva ended the fight on her back with her hands behind her head like she was on a paddle boat. And I really was disappointed in that. I mean, you're in a championship bantamweight fight. You're fighting for a title, and that's how you end the fight, on your back. So, Josh is a big UFC guy as I, company Jace guy, as am I. And we're both up late. We don't sleep very well. And Rob has joined us. And he, so I said something to him. I said, Pennington was scared of what? He goes, to finish, to take the chance and finish. He said she played it safe, it seemed. She hugged her for like 2 minutes of the last round. And I said, I hate that shit. Yeah, that she was scared of what finishing, and she was scared, to take the chance, Buena Silva. And you're in a championship fight, man. And thank you, Broccoli Rob and Shari, for this wonderful shirt, which doesn't fit me as well because I got to drop some weight. But the guns are showing today. We just ran 4 miles, and my body's killing me. And Josh just said some good stuff. I said, dude, I got to leave the show off with this. And I said, the Niners, Eric and Hyatt got married yesterday. And you know what makes a great wedding? It doesn't matter the food, which was great. Appetizers very good, but a band. You get people up and dancing, and they're not sitting the whole goddamn night. That is what you want at a wedding. People dancing, sweating their asses off. Had my penguin suit on. Michigan looked perfect. Sent pictures, everybody. Got a lot of good responses. That's what makes a great wedding. And, Eric and I had beautiful vows for each other. It was really nice. And Mark, our cousin, he was officiated the wedding. And something interesting they did at the wedding, which his rabbi had told him, that instead of the people reading the vows, which sometimes leads people to start crying, he read them and they could just look at each other and hear the words. And I never thought about that before, but I kind of like that idea. That someone else, hey, yes, yeah. I mean, that's a good thing, man. So Rob, I'm going to get you on a little bit. I got to do the Josh stuff first. I got you on a little bit. I want to do this Josh stuff, and I'm on a roll right now. And I thought that was really beautiful. So I'm talking to Josh last night. I said, I hate that shit. I said, the Niners, I hate on the back, all that stuff. I said, didn't sound like a good game yesterday because I missed both games. He was at the wedding. And he said, but got the win. And he said, pressure, it's a bitch. Some people can handle it, some can't. And I said, I agreed. He goes, another case of not how you start, but how you finish. And I said, the Packers were up 21-14 driving, and they turned it over. And then they missed a field goal at 21-17. Anders Carlson, in 5 straight games, he's missed a kick, 10 of the last 12. How do you keep a guy like that on the field? And I feel bad for Ernesto because that's a kicker. And I was talking to Angel this morning, and he says, hey, listen, I said 98, Anderson had to miss a kick the whole goddamn season. 15-1 Vikings, should have beaten the Falcons easily, missed a field goal at the end, had missed an extra point field goal, missed one in the NFC Championship game. They ended up losing in overtime to the Falcons, a game they should have never lost. And Anders Carlson, I don't care if he was a draft pick this year out of Auburn, should not have been kicking. That's not a guy you need in the field. So enough on that. He said, but that was Love's first dip in the playoff water, and for the most part played really good. I said, agreed, exceeded expectation. Ernesto said if they won, they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't know about that, but yeah, they were going to go somewhere. And he says, Josh says, I compare to bowling. He's a big bowler. He says, I bowl with pressure a lot of times over the years, early in my career too, and I buckled a few times. Then I changed my mentality, and I became unstoppable in pressure time. So I said, what did you change? And he said, just throw a good shot. That's all you can do. Ice veins was what I always told myself. Because you can throw the perfect shot doesn't mean it's going to strike. I said, that's impressive. I said, instead of worrying about the perfect shot, make good shots. I said, it's on the show today. Loved it. He said, he said, I was always worried about messing up. Instead, I flipped it. The watching the opponent drop their face when I'd strike, priceless. He said, I've shot 300 to lock up leagues. I love that pressure now. Ask Ernesto. If you need one person to throw three strikes in the 10th frame, who do you want it to be? He goes, I'm on that list, he said, and he started laughing. I said, great story, because, we both, I told him, he says he doesn't mind doing it in person, but if he has to call into a show, whatever, he gets all nervous. And I told him when I audition, my adrenaline gets too high, I forget my lines, and it became to a point where I stopped acting because it wasn't And my therapist recommended a hypnotist, which I've, thought about using. I'm thinking about going back because I did the thing for Noah and his pulmonary cardiac rehab center. And that was the first time I'd done anything in front of camera and in front of someone else in a while. And I got a little nervous and I said, just calm down, relax, slow down. And it worked. And that's the first time I've done that in a long time. And I thought that was kind of interesting where he said, oh, come on. And he just says, we all get it. It's funny when I do this show, I feel like I could do this for hours and it doesn't get me all crazy like it does with acting, which I thought was kind of interesting. And he says, my name became the bus. I run over people in the 10th frame. My team would start yelling beep, beep when I would strike in close games of the 10th. So I thought that was interesting. I just loved it. So I said, you know what? I'm leading off the show. Company of Jace. Josh is a guy who has been listening to my show non-freaking stop. He's the guy. And from there, Rob and Rob comes on and everything and all the guys and, Aaron and Ernesto. So, so I missed the games and they're talking to me back and forth and we're bashing Shanahan if he loses. Hey, Rob. Yeah, Rob, I saw a stat yesterday. So when Shanahan's trailing by 5+ points, this is Josh Dubois, who's a guy Jose has joined us. And it said that the Niners are now at 2-41, .044 winning percentage now and trailing by 5+ points at any time in the fourth quarter. I guess you had it in the last. You saw some.
Well, heading into the fourth, if they were down by 5, they were 0-30 under Shanahan prior to yesterday. Now they're 1-30, and that's why those stats are just stats. I mean, they are that way until they're not.
But it's still 2-41 at any time of the fourth quarter. Shanahan is not a good stat. The only team worse since 2017 is the Panthers are 1-69, but they got the win. And to me, who gives a shit? Like you said, who said that? Michigan says about Harbaugh, and Milton says. Harbaugh doesn't care if we win 17-16, 3-2, as long as they get the win. I listen, they got the win, right? Ugly, yeah. But that kicker sucks. Carlson sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. That kicker is no good. He's been that way all season. To go back to real quick to something you were saying about Josh about calling in. I used to be so nervous. I would have been nervous about getting on with you.
Oh, really?
3-4 years ago, I had really bad anxiety in life, and I finally dealt with it. But I used to be so nervous calling into shows, and I would do it. And once I started doing it more and more, it just became natural for me because I stopped thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to be in air, everyone's going to hear me, because it just became routine. And sometimes, I have anxiety, all the things you describe, the heart racing, I get sweaty palms, my mind would just run over the same, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I would have it too. And I learned that really sometimes the best way is just push through it. Now, sometimes it's hard, obviously, and you mess up. But what I finally learned is sometimes the only way to do it is just to but it's never going to turn out as bad as you think in your head is going to.
You know what Josh just said about? What do you think Josh just said when you said all that? What do you think? What do you think Josh's comment was?
We had this discussion. I forget now, but I've talked to him about.
No. He said now he doesn't stop talking.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, there's different ways to deal with it. I used to rehearse what I was going to say when I called in. There's even times where I would write down the bullet points.
Okay.
And then I get on the air and I would get one bullet point in, and then I'd be cut off, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's right. But that's the thing with my auditioning. It was all or nothing. So if I had to get it, and then went in and so maybe I think this has helped me that maybe I could start auditioning again because I'm just like, dude, it wasn't fun anymore. I said I'd rather do my podcast. Yeah. I can control this stuff. I can't control the other stuff. But yeah. So
and how that relates to football, like with Jordan Love, with the kicker and stuff. I think the difference. Well, the kicker maybe not so much with Jordan Love on the interception late in the game. They say they said, he'll get better. I don't necessarily know about that. I'm not saying he won't, but with Josh throwing the bowling ball, like he has time to sit and okay, let me calm down. But when Jordan Love, have you seen the play where he threw the interception at the end of the game?
You sent it to me. He looked, but it was first down though, man. But it was first down. That's what I
I
understand.
think with things like that, you don't, once he hikes the ball, starts rolling out, he doesn't have time to say, okay, let me calm down, let me just breathe and stop. He can't stop the game and do that. So it's like he's just rushing, and it's a split second decision. It really is. And if you're not, I think not everyone, but I think just some people have it where they're just a calm type of person, like Tom Brady and Eli Manning and Joe Montana, the guys who are just cool like that. It's just a natural thing for them not to race in their head and to just make the smart decision, as opposed to certain guys. It's just a rushed mentality in their mind. So he may get better. Who knows? He may learn that lesson, but it may not solve. It just may be a time where late in the game, in a pressure situation like a playoff game, his mind may go too fast. I think Dak has that problem. He doesn't, during the regular season, it's easy to slow down. Playoffs,
but this is the thing I'll say, Rob. I'm thinking of, as him, that was you're never supposed to throw across your body. You're never supposed to throw across your body. And he was trying, almost like he was trying to do Favre. Maybe he was trying to get it all back in one play. But that's a play where you live for another down. You just throw, okay.
Absolutely, it was a first down.
First down.
Still plenty of time.
And two timeouts.
I think we do it too many times.
And two timeouts. He had 2 timeouts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, hey, listen. I told Ernesto, if you would have told me with a $1.07 left, like we said, you have a shot to go to the NFC Championship game for where the season started, listen, he said if we want to go to the Super Bowl, I don't know about that, but anything's possible. But I'll tell you, it was a winning season. Hey, you know what Michigan sent me? So C.J. Stroud has now been shut out 10 straight quarters by Michigan, Jesse Minter with Michigan, he was the defensive coordinator, and now McDonald by the Ravens. They didn't have a touchdown yesterday, just a punt return, right? That's all they got.
Yeah, just a punt return. If you want to get into that game, it was clear that Baltimore was the best team. Their defense was really good. Houston couldn't really get anything going offensively. I would say Baltimore is smart to where, and I got to give Lamar Jackson credit. He ran when he didn't run too much, but he took his opportunities. There was a great play call on fourth down that Baltimore had. They had a fake handoff, and Lamar Jackson rolled out to his left and had all sorts of room to run. And he had a receiver and a left tackle out there to block for him, and that kind of, to me, sealed it at that point. But Baltimore played smart. Lamar Jackson didn't really, from what I saw, didn't make any really bad, like egregious throws, and he managed the game well and used his legs. And in the playoffs against a lesser team, I think that's sometimes what you need to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the smart play, and they were in control of the game. It wasn't like they were behind and he was just making check downs. They were in control of the game. So Baltimore's defense really showed up. Their linebackers played well. Houston couldn't get anything going on the run game, and that defense, and they kept getting pressure on Stroud, and there's Baltimore's the better team, and they showed it yesterday.
Yeah. So who do you like today?
Today I like Detroit, and I like Kansas City.
I do too. I like Detroit. I like KC. I just think Mahomes is going to go in there. There's a guy Joshua I'm friends with, huge Bills fan. He says I'm a Bills hater. I go, dude, I'm not a Bills hater. I think Mahomes is a better quarterback in playoff time. Until Allen shows me otherwise, like Lamar Jackson, that's his first AFC Championship game he's going into. He had to win that game yesterday. He had to get over that hump, and I think you got to get over the hump. I'll tell you. I think if the Lions can beat them, I'm kind of curious what the Lions are going to do against Lions. D sucks though. Lions do not have a good defense. That's what concerns me.
No, but you have and I guess we could jump into this now because I know you and I are both on the same page about this. Detroit's defense may not be good, but you have Kyle Shanahan on the other side, not putting his team in the. I just don't. I think he did a good job of calling plays on the game-winning drive, and Purdy looked much better there. I guess Purdy has kind of struggled in the rain. He has a little bit smaller hand size, and I think I know it's not always, it's something that's talked about in the combine with quarterbacks, and I guess this is time maybe where it shows is in the rain.
Right.
There's one play where he went back to pass, and he kept he's a right-handed quarterback. He switched the ball to his left hand, wiped his right hand on his jersey while he was dropping back, and then grabbed it again and threw it, which is I'm sure it's happened before, but I've never
that's
seen
wild.
That.
And it still got the ball off.
Yeah. I mean, he did it like as he was dropping back.
But
He did
still,
it, so, during his 3-step drop. But yeah, but Shanahan did a good job on that last drive of calling plays. But prior to that, I don't. You could tell Purdy was off. He was sailing balls high. He was just he wasn't precise like he normally is. And instead of going, I thought they should have just give a heavy dose of McCaffrey, and they weren't. I mean, missing Debo hurt, but there was one where it was the second to last drive before the game-winning drive, and they started moving the ball some, and then it was first down and throw, second down throw, third down throw, and it's like you got McCaffrey, who's probably the offensive player of the year, and you're not feeding him the ball late in the game. Like I didn't understand. I mean, they threw a pass to him, but it was one of those. It wasn't. I don't like the play calling. There was especially late. End of the first half, I texted this to you. To me, Shanahan coach scared. They had about a minute or so. They started out with like a minute 40 left in their own 20. They got to about a minute left around the 50, and they had 3 timeouts. And it was I think it was a 3rd and 1, and they let the time run without. They let the entire clock run down as the clock is running. Let the play clock run down, and they let it run down to 0, and they called timeout. Then they ran the ball, and then they called timeout to get the first down. It's like, well, why didn't you just snap it right away and run the ball? Why did you let all this time run off? And he wanted to make sure the defense or the Packers didn't get the ball again. But he ran it down so much that they ended up kicking like a 30-something-yard field goal because he let it run down, and he ended up getting it blocked. And to me, he was just coaching scared.
And I hate. So I wanted to ask you a couple things. Did it look like a serious injury?
No, I mean, he was on the sideline. He was working his shoulder. It wasn't like it was in a sling or anything like that. You could tell they were working on, like, the shoulder, and he was at one point showing the coach where it hurt. It didn't look. I mean, he was down for a little bit when he got hit, and then he got up, and he went to the sideline, and then he was trying to see if he could get back in. He went back to the locker room. Then he came out in street clothes. I mean, on the hit itself, it didn't look like anything, like, obvious. I mean, he took a pretty good shot, but it wasn't. You're kind of wondering what it was. Who knows what the injury is? We have to see. Knowing Debo, I would guess he would at least give it a try, but who knows what the injury is.
And Rob, second half, they were up 21-14. They were driving. They got an interception, or was it they?
Yeah, it was a crossing route, and Love threw it behind him, and the receiver reached back, and when he tried to catch it, it was really. I think he only got one hand on the ball reaching back, and it popped up in the air, and he got intercepted.
And they got stopped on a 4th down at the 14-yard line. Was that first or second half? The Packers.
That was first half. Yeah, that's another thing, man. I was watching it with my son the first half of the game. My son, and he's only 8, but I was explaining to him like the 49ers. Although Green Bay was driving, I thought their defense did a good job. And in these days in the NFL, if a team keeps driving, you hold them to field goals. That's a win for you. And they kicked 2 field goals when they got deep, and they got stopped on 4th down. It looked like he might have actually gotten it, but they didn't review it. And so he stopped him in the first half.
So that was so they didn't review it. They didn't have timeouts, or did he not think?
No, he just chose not to review it. I mean, he was in a pile. Who knows where the ball exactly was? So it would have been. It might have been hard to overturn, because he was. Love was laying forward, so the ball was underneath him. You didn't have a camera view on the ball. You couldn't see the ball from any view, from what I could see, of the actual ball. If you could guesstimate, he was holding it where he normally does on his chest, but I mean that's kind of a guess. So the refs might not have overturned it based on that.
All right, so I want to tell you guys this. So I'm at the wedding last night. Eric got married to Hyatt, Michigan's cousins. I meet a guy there, just start talking to. He's got a site called Prop Bomb, where he does prop bets. I looked. He's got 131,000 followers on Twitter. So I told, holy cow! So I was like. He went to FSU. He's been doing it a couple of years. He goes, I'd love to come on the show. So he's going to come on the podcast. I was like, holy shit. So I have to give a shout. His name's Jordan. So Jordan's going to come on a future show. He does all prop bets. He really does basketball. Awesome. He does NBA more than football, but he does prop bets. And I was like, all right. So I was like, I was like, all right. I had to tell you guys that this guy I meet at the wedding is going to be. And I met another guy, another cousin in Michigan. His name's Robert. He wants to get into baseball. He wants to become a mental coach for athletes, and he's going to work with the U.S. military in Northern California. He was a former college center fielder, baseball, D3, and he's going to come on and talk about being a mental coach. And I was like, dude, anytime. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So And let's hey, you know what? Bumbles was at the game last night, yesterday. Your Knicks, I got to be honest with you, looking pretty good.
Yeah. Brunson played really well. He's fantastic. Achua had everyone said this is going to be the RJ and quickly revenge game. It was kind of the Achua revenge game. I think he had 20 and 10. I think it was. You had Randall had a triple double in first half. He was really efficient. In the first half, he had 15 points on 6 of 8. I think it was 6 of 8 shooting, or 6 of 7. Sorry, 6 of 7 shooting. 3 or 4 for downtown. Had 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in the first half. It was really impressive first half numbers, and they really pulled away in the second half. You know, I was switching back and forth between the football game and that. I had that game on my phone, the Knicks game on my phone, and would have and would look at that and back and forth. But the second half they really pulled away, and Hartenstein did go out with I think it's a knee injury, and so we'll see. I know we got Denver coming up this I think it's Denver coming up this week. I said maybe Thursday or something.
I'm looking right now. I'm looking.
With Jokic, I mean, that's going to be difficult. But yeah, they played really well.
Yeah, they're playing Nets on Tuesday at Barclays, and then they have the Nuggets at home, Heat at home, and then they're at the Hornets, Jazz at home, Pacers at home, Lakers at home. Grizz, they got a long homestand. Mavericks at home.
They played a lot of first half road games. So
okay, so Julius Randle got his 14th career triple double, 8th with the Knicks.
Yeah, I think it's 4th all time in Knicks history. I think.
Do you know who has the most triple doubles in Knicks franchise history? Old school guy. Broadcasts. Think of his.
Walt Frazier.
Yeah. So it's Walt Frazier. Michael Ray Richardson with 18, Richie Guerin with 16, and then Randall with 8. All right, and this is interesting. I saw this New York Basketball, Knicks 30 rebound margin, largest since the Ewing era, except for a plus 31 game against the 2020 Rockets. Yeah, Clyde.
They rebound really well. DiVincenzo's a good rebounder. Hart's a very good rebounder from a guard / small forward. Randall's a good rebounder for the power forward. Hart's been since this year now 11 going into yesterday's game and 10 games in this calendar. I think it's this calendar year. He's averaging 15 rebounds a game. Now I know that's obviously not going to be that way for a whole season, but right now he's doing really well rebounding. So yeah, the Knicks rebound well. That's something Tibbs really pushes for, and it's something the team focuses on. So
yeah, listen. I'll take it. And my Tar Heels yesterday, I think won. Josh and I were talking about. I think that's 7 in a row, but I'm not 100% positive. They're undefeated in the ACC. They won at BC. I'll take any. Listen, crappy, whatever. I'll take any of those games. Did you? And I saw this yesterday. I wanted to. We're always talking about Kobe. Kobe tore his rotator cuff. They tried to play, but just shooting with his left hand. He goes average 40 for a whole month with a torn labrum before. I'm not too concerned about it. I'll just shoot left-handed.
Wow. Well, we all know the Larry Bird story, right? I think we talked about.
I don't know if we talked about it. Remind me.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
What did he over the summer? He practiced left-handed shots.
Practiced? Larry Bird played an entire game shooting lefty and scored like 40 points or something like that, 30-something points, shooting left-handed. He's a right-handed player. Larry Bird shot lefty. You can look at it. I'm not.
No. Rob, but I read about him. I think I saw it in the Magic Bird doc. That every summer he would teach himself a new skill. And he was always pissed because he felt that McHale didn't put in the work that he put in the offseason like he did. Like, you know what screwed up his back? He freaking paved his mother's driveway. Here's a multi-million-dollar NBA star, and he screwed up his back paving his mother's freaking driveway.
I didn't know that, man.
The hick from French Lick. Okay, so let me ask you this, okay? Rangers, 10-12 the last 22.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with this team. I mean, I don't watch as many Rangers games. Hockey's probably my 4th favorite sport. But yeah, they ever since it seems they had that streak. They were playing really well. Kako got hurt, and they also went on that. Every team got that week bye they call it.
Right.
And ever since then, they come back. They've just not been
flat as shit.
Sometimes you're on momentum, but it is a long season. It's. I'm not saying they're gonna all of a sudden start playing better, but if they can get their act together later, and keep reasonable, don't fall way down the standings, but it's kind of hockey's. You got to be playing well at the right time. Almost every sport, but I think hockey is it's absolute crapshoot for hockey. So we'll see. I mean, they lost 2-1 last night. So
Josh says they lost Heidel, but my cousin Mark has been a season ticket holder 50 years. He talked to me last night. I said, "What's the problem?" He goes, "When they play physical teams, they get knocked around, and they're not a physical team." And he says that the Kreider, Panarin, Mika, if you get rough with them, they back down. And he says in the power play, they kind of shoot the puck around, and all the teams know, like Carolina knows what to do with them now, and they stay on Fox, so Fox doesn't have passing room, and they haven't adjusted. And he said the younger guys are playing. Cooley and them are coming in and playing like bats out of hell, chicken. They don't give a shit, and that's what the rest of the team has to play. But man, you can't be 10-12. And then you saw the Islanders. I mean, Jesus. I mean, fire the coach. I mean, hockey's the best, man. If you're not a good coach, they'll yank you. Year 2, 12 games in. So Patrick Roy, I don't think he's had a lot of success as a pro coach. I'm kind of curious what he's going to do with the Isles. I know James has to be excited about that. Yes.
I'm sure he's anything that helps his team get better. Yeah.
He says they meet. Josh said they miss Reeves as the enforcer. So I was like, listen.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe the trade deadline. I know I'm not comparing this team to '94, just using it as an example. The Rangers made some big moves in '94 to get some veterans in there and get some tougher grit. McTavish, and I think brought in Keenan, I think it was, Tikkanen. There's a few players they brought in at the trade deadline and gave up some younger, like Alexei Kovalov, and some younger, talented, but not, they brought in some guys that have experience and, like you said, the toughness. And I wonder, sometimes having talent is great, but you and I talk a ton about glue guys. Glue guys do the dirty work that these talented guys have never had to do.
Right.
Because they've always been the most talented. So when you get a bunch of those guys, you start missing the things that those glue guys do, because these other guys just haven't had to do it. And you need those guys who are, going to get dirty in the corners and going to be in the front of the net and be willing to get banged around in the front of the net.
And don't give a shit.
And do better at tip ins because, yes, you got Kreider who's good at tipping in, but is there anyone else in the Rangers really, that is good at in front of the net like that and taking the beating but still tipping the net? Not really. The rest of them are all more puck handlers and passers and more skilled players. They're all skilled, but we all know what I mean with that.
Right.
So
I hear
maybe they'll make a move for, maybe some more players like that. Maybe not get as much skill, but more, grit.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I was kind of curious what you thought about that. And the Oilers, 13 in a row. They were 7 points out of a playoff spot. Changed coaches, 13 straight. They're now 6 behind the Knights and 13 behind the Canucks. They're third of the Pacific. And I mean,
wow, yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Momentum, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What were you
so
gonna
if
say?
Shanahan doesn't win this week, what is that would be how many? 4 to 5, and he's only made 1. I mean,
well, it'd be three
with them, right? But
3 straight. It's first of all, it's 3 straight NFC Championship games now with no title, and I mean, I don't think they're gonna get rid of him, but I think that his dad had Elway, and they didn't win. Why did they win? Why did Elway win? Because he had Terrell goddamn Davis. You know what? He was at the end of his career, and I'll tell you. So there was a guy at the wedding last night, Rob. He could have been George Kittle's brother. He could have been George. I said, dude. He goes, take me in fantasy next year. Kid had a man bun. He was a monster. This kid was a monster. And with that talent, there's no way that game should have been close yesterday, right? I mean, I think they should have came out and blown out of the water. I think. And when you said 7-6 and a half, I was like. And then I was.
Yeah, Purdy was definitely off, and I just didn't understand why they just didn't go to a more running game. I mean, you run into McCaffrey, and their backup it's not Mitchell anymore. Forget their backup, but he comes in, he does a good job as a backup. And they had room to run, and I understand today's not a running game, but if you run more, weakens the defense, keeps the ball out of Green Bay's hands, and in general for the offense, especially in the first half, their offense is moving the ball well, so it would have kept the ball out of their hands more and would open up some maybe play action, because now you're missing Debo, your number one guy. Play action, if they have been able to work that in, would then give your other receivers who aren't used to being the main guy, now give them a little more space, because that play action gives you that little bit of space, and let McCaffrey, your guy you're paying all that money to, carry you through that game, and
but
to me,
Ayuk didn't.
I don't understand it.
Was it raining all game yesterday, Rob?
All game all game. It was raining pretty good, especially in the fourth quarter. It was pouring especially late in the fourth quarter. It was pouring, but it's raining all game long, constantly.
Yeah, Ayuk had 3 for 32, so that's what I was looking for. So yeah. McCaffrey
Kittle dropped one. Oh God! I mean, it was on the game-winning drive, so it didn't hurt them. But I mean, Purdy threw one right there, and it was just one of those. It was a hook route, and Kittle turned, and as the ball was getting in, he turned to look forward, and it hit him right in the hands. But his head was was already looking upfield, and he was a yard past the first down, so it would have been a first down. It was like 2nd and 8 or something like that, 2nd and 6. So luckily they got the first down, but it was just like, man, Kittle's usually not that guy, and in those situations, that's the thing. The pressure's there. Your mind speeds up, and you just do things you're not normally accustomed to doing. And throw my love, man. That was just.
Or you're trying to run with the ball, or sometimes you're thinking, I'm going to run. I got open field, and I'm already running without the ball.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
he caught it. Could have gotten some more yards, and instead of just making the catch, and he had the first down if he makes the catch. That's the important part.
Right.
You got to do kind of like a risk. I can understand a little bit more if it's 4th down and 18, you catch it at like 4th and like 13 or something. You catch it on 13. I kind of understand that a little bit more because there's that urgency. But when you're already past the first down marker, make that catch first.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Make the catch.
So,
yeah. And I just saw this today. Trey Palmer woke up pissed off, and every game he's posted this, he scored, and they think Baker's going to have I'd love Baker to have a shitty game. I want Baker to throw for like 4 interceptions today because he's up for a new contract, and they said the Bucs want him back next year, which, hey, understandable, but that crowd is going to be loud at Ford Field today. It's going to be loud.
Yeah. Ford Field loud. San Francisco didn't seem as loud. Baltimore was really loud yesterday. They were loud. I never ever. I've been to some Giants games, and where it's just or in baseball games where it's like late and the crowd's just not. And I just don't understand it. Why are you at a game where you can have an impact and you're a fan and you're just sitting down? And
right, sit on your hands. What are you there for?
Sit on your hands and I'm like. My friend and I got in trouble at we were a Mets game. This is years ago. It was so long ago. It was Shea Stadium, and Mike Piazza was up, bottom of the ninth, two runners on, and we're sitting there like we're doing the arms, like waving, trying to get like, come on, stand up, and some guys like, oh, sit down. We're like, sit down. Like, what? It's the bottom of the ninth. We got our best hitter up. We're down by 2, and he's up and 2 guys on, and you're telling us to sit down. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why come?
Yeah, so San Francisco was loud. Sometimes it's just the TV broadcast doesn't make it seem as loud, but Baltimore was clearly loud. And Ford Field is loud, and Buffalo, they get loud there too. So it's not going to be as cold tonight in Buffalo as it was last week. It's funny. It's going to be colder here where I live than it is going to be way up in Buffalo.
Oh, it is? Is that what they say? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be down like 10 degrees tonight here, but up there I think it's going to be warmer than that. It's like a low of like 8 near me, but a low of like 20 up there or something like that.
Yeah, it was a little chilly for my run today. It was like 65. A little brisk.
Oh, you ran outside? Out here in Florida. You're in Florida.
You're like, what? You ran outside? Yeah, I was running. I'm like, ooh, it's a little chilly. I was like,
how far did you run?
I did 4. Dude, I haven't run 4 miles in months. Yeah, I paid for it.
Good for you.
Dude, I was like,
how much you do? How much time you do?
Oh, dude, slow as shit. All right, I'm going to tell you, I'm really slow. Okay, so I ran it in.
No, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to me.
I think I ran 12:53 miles. It's 54 minutes.
Okay.
What do you run it in? What do you usually?
When I run 3 miles, it's usually about 33 minutes or so when I run 3 miles. I usually pretty much just do 3 at this point when I do. I mean, I don't rarely anymore, but
yeah, that's what I want.
About 33 minutes.
So that's what I want to get. I want to get there again. I'm like, I gotta get. Yeah. Like, all right.
When I first started running, I went out and ran 8 miles 3 days in a row like that, without stretching, without.
I don't stretch, dude. I just go.
Yeah, me either. And it was just, I had so much anxiety that it was just, I just went out to I was in a really bad spot, and and so I just Googled how to deal with all these things, and it said exercise good. So I've always been able to run. So I just went out and ran. Did 8 miles that day, 8 the next day, and it was just like,
holy shit.
Boy, it felt, yeah. But I've always been able to run, but it's just I had so much anxiety that it just drove me.
No, dude, that's good. Oh, so we were watching. You let me just think. So we're watching the game yesterday with that guy that prop guy, Jordy yesterday. Dalvin Cook runs for like 25 yards. There's a highlight. I'm like, where the hell was he with the Jets? He's like running like boom, boom, boom. I was like,
Baltimore's got a good offensive line, man.
Jesus. I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude. I was like, are you kidding me? So did St. John's win yesterday? Because they went old school court, I saw yesterday. I think St. John's.
Old school court?
Yeah, they went to like the old like Big East court, I think they went to, yes.
Oh, yeah. Did they do that in honor of someone?
Was it Carnesecca?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, to honor him. Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw.
I don't know if they won, but yeah, I remember seeing they were doing that.
And I saw Seton Hall lost to Butler in triple overtime yesterday. I was like, God, Seton Hall's playing good basketball right now. So I was like, yeah, I just saw it. Listen, we're with Nikki's mother. We call her Daba. She watches the Game Show Network, so it's on all day. She's like, "Can I put on?" I'm like, "Oh God, I gotta get my iPad." So today, I know I want to watch the football games, and she's gonna want to watch something. I go, Michigan. I am watching. I'm not missing the games. She goes, "What are we doing for dinner?" I go, "We're ordering something in." I said, "I'm not missing the goddamn games tonight." I said, "I am not missing the goddamn games." I'm like, "Holy shit!" She's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, and Josh and I were up last night watching UFC. Duplessis fought this guy Strickland. I'll tell you, it was just I was like, and the only thing good was the blood. But other than that, I was like, I'm bored as hell. I'm like, this is boring. This is boring for me to watch. I mean, I don't care. Oh, and FanDuel put something up. Should Taylor Swift get a ring if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl? That's pretty funny. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And I saw Taylor Fritz won his first top 10 at a Grand Slam at the who's Victoria Rose? Is she part of the company of Jace?
It's my grandma.
That's your grandma?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, right. Because I always see her and I always want to...
I think so. I'm so bad with names and accounts and stuff. But it's my grandma, yeah.
Grandma's... She comes on all the time. All the time.
Yeah, I believe that is.
That is definitely your grandma, man. Your grandma...
I feel bad if I'm wrong on that. But at least my grandma.
I'm like... I
don't think she ever posts anything, but I think she's on Instagram. I think my grandma on Instagram.
She listens all the time, dude.
Yeah.
All the time. So there's all these transfer portal guys, and you're like, I don't really care about that stuff. So I was like, I was going to talk about stuff. Well, I take pictures. Oh, most TDs in a season. Niners history. McCaffrey, 23 this year, including playoffs. Rice had 23 and 87. 23 touchdowns.
In 16 games.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that, but yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just less games. I think it matters.
And longest...
And in times where defenses were so much better and offenses wasn't as geared towards scoring, those stats, offensive stats from back then, just when guys put up such good numbers, it amazes me because if Jerry Rice played in today's game, I mean,
yeah, but
the numbers he put up.
But the Niners also, did they have like a 20-game road winning streak that over 2 seasons? They didn't lose a road game. Because
they almost if the Giants didn't beat them in 90, I think
they would have three-peat, and that would have been the first. That would have been the first three-peat. That would have been the first ever. Yeah. I still remember.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, the Giants. Yesterday was the anniversary of it. I still remember watching that game. That was a hell of a game.
15-13, right? Barr with the
Matt Barr, 42-yard field goal. And I mean, the 49ers had the lead. They were eating out the clock.
And who fumbled?
Jim Burt hit Roger Craig to fumble. Yep.
And then, was it 5 field goals that won that game? It was Barr kicked 5.
Yeah, 5 field goals. And a fake punt by Bill Parcells, snapped it, and Gary Reasons caught it, ran right up the middle. I was going nuts when he...
that was one of the...
thing I loved about Parcells, he wasn't afraid for the trick play. He never feared doing that.
That was one of the greatest football games I ever saw. One of the greatest games.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
And
generally, the 49ers Giants back in the 80s were always such good games.
But dude, that was 90, right? That was 90. That was 90.
Yeah, it was the 90 season. 91 is the year, but 90 season, yeah.
But that was the hit where Marshall got up and nailed. I don't know how Montana got up from that hit. Montana got hit shot.
He missed the rest of the game and the next year, I think, too.
Leonard Marshall got up from the ground and got. I mean, you watch him in that play, you're just like, Marshall was not going to be denied. It went from that game to the Super Bowl, which was 2 of the greatest games back to back you'd ever seen in your life. Because and
that Giants team turned the ball over I think it's 16 times that year, I think, altogether.
Really, that's it? Wow.
Yeah, for the regular season, I think it was 16 games. Yeah, they had. I actually just saw this. So O.J. Anderson, was the MVP of that game, but he won the Super Bowl with both 86 and 90, and I think he maybe fumbled one time in 90. He was their leading rusher. I think he fumbled maybe one time in 90. He was, reliable. He didn't get you, 4 yards a carry, but, he never lost yards and was a tough runner. And it was a different game back then. But, yeah, only six, I think it's only 16 turnovers. They really didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, so listen to this.
Not a great offense, but...
So listen to this. You were talking about linebackers. So David Hellman put this up. He said, 4 of the 6 all-pro linebackers this year were drafted outside the top 50. Only one was drafted top 15. He said it's incredibly valuable, much like good running back play, but unless it's a truly...
let me guess. The guy drafted inside the top 15, Micah Parsons is the one guy, right?
No, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. That would be it. Yeah.
Wow.
So in Roquan Smith or CMC... You can find talent all over the place, like Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen was a guy who I don't think they picked up his 5th-year option or something. Yeah, listen, I am very curious how this is going to go going forward next week. With them playing and Roquan Smith, I guess, wore a cowboy hat to the game, and he said, when I was thinking about this morning, I was like, hey, they're the Texans and they're the Cowboys, but I got this hat on, so I'm daddy. So I'm daddy. That was from Bobby Trossett. I was like, I'm daddy. I was like, all right. Yeah, I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And so that was the first time Quick played in LA since he'd been traded. I didn't know that.
Oh, yep.
So
yeah, he was a hell of a goalie in his time, man. Hell of a goalie.
Yeah, and I didn't know Dre Greenlaw had 2 interceptions, first in a playoff game since Tommy Polley for the Rams versus the Packers 22 years ago. Josh Dubois.
Yeah, first time. Yeah, that's amazing to me. The first time the linebacker had his second one. Did you see the interception? I showed it to you. Like why he did not go down right away. Like everyone is just yelling, go down. Like boy, he's lucky he didn't fumble that ball, because if he had, and Green Bay got it back and was able to get a field goal or something, my God, he was just running around like crazy, like one side of the field back to the other, like, man, like that's such. How do you not? You obviously know you got the lead. I would imagine you know you have the lead. I'd imagine you're somewhat aware of the time left in the game. Like why? Like
you're talking you're talking at the end of the game, Love? Well,
yeah, Greenlaw with the interception, and then he gets up and starts running like he's trying to return it for a touchdown, and he comes all the way across the field, like breaks a couple tackles, starts like running backwards, back around to go all the way around, like, and I mean he must have ran for a good 10 seconds or so, like just get down, man, like the game's over. If you go down, game's over. Even the announcer said, go down, game's over. Go down, game's over, and he just kept running.
I'd kill him. If I was the coach, I'd run on the field, take the penalty.
If I were a teammate, I would have tried.
I would have tackled him. I would have tackled him.
The only thing I'd be worried about is if I knocked the ball out, getting him down. But I'd run next to him. Go down. I'd be yelling at him. Go down. Like,
yeah, dude. There's no.
Or push him out of bounds. That way he doesn't fumble. But push him out of. I don't get what he was doing.
No. I totally agree.
At one point, I was like, is he gonna lateral this? I was thinking that. I hope he doesn't try to lateral this ball.
And then And sometimes they do, and you're like, dude, go down. Go for love of God, go down.
You've done the big part. You've got even if they. You've got the turnover. You did the big part of this whole thing. So, but I do got to get going, JD.
You do? You're out of here? All right.
Yeah, I got to get going.
Wait. Let me. Okay, so before, you know what? Let's just. You know what? I think it's a bit of a good show. Let's get you to do the trivia questions, and we'll move on. Okay. So last show trivia question was, we talked about former. Who's the only player to win a Super Bowl ring and Olympic gold medal? And we talked about this.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Bob Hayes, wide receiver for the Cowboys.
Oh.
So you knew the name.
Yeah, I knew the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today's trivia question. There are 3 teams that are tied for the most playoff wins in NFL history. Can you name 2 of the 3 teams that have the most playoff wins in NFL history? Can you name all 3? 3 teams are tied for the most wins in playoff history. And 2 others are one behind. 3 teams, most playoff wins.
Dallas Cowboys.
No. But they're second. They're one behind. They're one behind.
Okay. San Francisco 49ers.
That's one of them. One of the 3.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
They are one behind. So interesting. Okay, so you got the Niners. Now 2 others. Most playoff wins. I thought the Cowboys had a lot more.
I'm guessing this is Super Bowl era, right?
Yes, Super Bowl era. Well, yes. Every team.
And see, I count championships as championships. I don't care if it's before Super Bowl. Just because they changed the name of the game and to me doesn't. Bears winning championships before the Super Bowl.
You know what though, dude?
To me.
But Rob, I think this is pre Super Bowl. I think this is NFL history means NFL history to me. But every team in the top Green Bay Packers are one of the, and there's one more. Come on, dude. Obvious. Come on.
New England Patriots.
Yes. So Patriots, dude, good. Yeah, because Niners, Patriots, Packers, 37. Cowboys and Steelers, 36. Thank you, Josh DeBoe. Thank you, Rob, for being so wonderful. Dude, there's no point in me going on with the show without you. Because, you know what?
Do you know who had the most championships altogether?
Oh, if you take all of them? I thought it was the...
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not New England, because New England only has 6. Is it the Giants?
No, but they're second.
So it's got to be, well, the Packers won Packers won 5 with Lombardi, and they've won
2 since then.
So that's only 7. Is it? It's not. And San Francisco didn't win before. Bears. No, it's not the Bears.
Yeah, Bears. Yeah,
it is the Bears.
I believe it's the Bears. I think it's the Bears with 10, the Giants with 8. That's why people say, "Oh, the Giants." Well, I mean, how do you discount championships before they? I mean, they literally just changed. I know the AFL teams came in, but I mean, do we not count World Series championships before they added teams? I don't know. They still played football. It was still the same rule. It was still not all the same rules, but a lot of the same rules.
They got to count stuff. Rob, I totally agree with you.
I count it.
I count it too, dude. Yeah. So
I mean, of course, the benefits of Giants, but still championships. They're still the World Series. They had to play a full schedule and beat the best teams in the league. So. If not, then you're saying Vince Lombardi. If you only count Super Bowls, then what? Vince Lombardi all of a sudden isn't one of the best coaches.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. You can't. Exactly.
Unitas,
No.
Bart Starr. They all of a sudden Gale Sayers doesn't count as one of the Jim Brown. None of what he did counted. So all of a sudden he's not up there as one of the best backs because his yards don't count. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah. Bullshit.
So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now? You're gonna before the games. You got stuff to
my
do?
son's here, so
all right, go, dude.
Yeah. We're gonna probably play horse Sunday. We have indoor basketball. We'll probably play that. So,
dude, thanks for coming on today, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
You're awesome. All right, man. Company of Jace, Josh, Aaron, Rob, everybody. All right, have a good day. Adios. Bye, everybody. Bye.